But I will say this, though. We're coming back from a shoot in Sacramento and San Francisco, and this has been one of the most wild shoots I think we've ever done. Would you agree, Danny?
100%, because of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, and we can get into it, I guess, because we're going to talk about it when the video comes out again, I'm sure. But we saved a junkie. We saved a woman that was dying, was overdosing from fentanyl. And I guess, you found the guy, Danny, so why don't you recount how this all happened, this rabbit hole. I mentioned rabbit hole that day, though. Do you remember what I said? Like, we should get in one of those rabbit holes.
Sure, yeah. So what happened was we'd already filmed 2 days in a row, long trip, we're kind of tired. We got into San Francisco a little bit later in the day. There was a point where I actually thought, like, hey, maybe we just go to sleep tonight, we just lay low, we film a shit ton of stuff tomorrow. Thank God we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because after filming, a relatively minor bit in Chinatown where, with us, a minor bit is a head figure in the Chinese mafia threatened to beat our ass for trying to join in on a Chinese card game.
Yeah.
That's a minor bit for us. But after that, the video hasn't started cooking yet. I see a hunched over bum walking down the sidewalk asking us if we have Narcan.
Correct.
And I think Nico and Leo, too, probably dismissed this guy as just another junkie. Like, let's not waste our time. Let's get moving. Let's look for some activity. But I want to hear what the fella has to say. So I go over there, and he's really upset that Leo and I, two upstanding, tax-paying Americans, don't have Narcan on us.
Man, you don't have Narcan, man. Come on.
And I remember looking at Leo and being like, Leo, you lunkhead, dude. You forgot your Narcan again, dude? You're supposed to never leave the house without it.
Yeah.
But then he tells us that his girlfriend is overdosed in his apartment.
Correct.
And now suddenly I'm thinking of Pulp Fiction. I'm thinking of like a fucking, a night out with the band Nirvana where like a roadie is passed out. Like, I've never been around an overdosed person.
Right.
So right away I'm like, holy fuck, that sounds serious. I'm really curious. Can we follow you up? And I remember we still were kind of joking around in light because we'd never been around that kind of situation. We didn't believe it. I feel like we didn't believe there was really somebody overdosed.
Yes. So Danny's the first to set eyes on her. We basically convince him, camera rolling, and I'm talking shoulder rig. Nico has a shoulder rig on, and we get into his, what I presume is it's almost like a homeless shelter, but I don't want to call them homeless. It was all Chinese people that were living in rooms that were about the size of what, Danny? Would you say they were like 10 by 10?
Ooh, I'm not good with measurements, but they were room for a bed
and a sink.
That's basically it. I mean,
Yeah.
you could do some sit-ups on the floor next to the bed, and maybe you could do the butterfly stretch in yoga, like fucking in front of the sink.
Right.
There's not much room for much else going on in there.
No. Communal bathrooms.
Yeah.
And not a lick of English, anyone in there.
Except for the junkie.
Except for the junkie.
Not his wife. I mean, she was overdosing. No English from her, but the main guy.
Now, Nico was the true star, I would say.
Yeah, he was.
He went in there, he put his ear right up to her mouth, her fentanyl-infested mouth.
Yes.
He put his ear right up to her.
Nico long ago was a hero over there at Anderson's Pea Soup.
Anderson's Pea Soup, if you remember that, when Nico had his famous joke. Anyway, he goes in there, and then he watches a lot of Rogan. And I'm not going to lie, it comes in handy often for Nico. And this was one of the times it came in handy. Tell us, Nico, what you did to the woman after putting your ear to her mouth.
And leave out the part where you pulled your wee-wee out and fucked her.
Yeah, leave out the part when the guy went outside to talk to Danny, and you dropped your pants and you put your penis into her mouth for a second.
That was unbecoming, Nico, so we'd prefer it doesn't grace our podcast.
We're not going to be able to show it anywhere, maybe on Patreon if you're okay with it, but I mean, I was rolling my cell phone. I know that you told me not to, but I was.
Yeah, so what happened, Nico? Leaving that out.
They always talk about this thing called a sternum rub. You put because she was breathing, faint pulse. Take your fist and you put it
Hey!
Whoa.
Don't touch me.
I was just trying to point.
Don't touch me.
Whoa.
Don't touch the driver, dude. I'm going to go,
So he did a sternum.
and then she would like come in and out of consciousness, and then you'd know she was breathing because she'd be like,
Nico, or to be honest, are you gonna masturbate to the experience?
definitely not.
Okay.
I burn my hands off after touching that bitch.
So she was coming in and out of consciousness. The bum had told us he wanted us to go get Narcan from CVS. Leo calls 911 the second we see this fucking chick actually passed out. I think she's dead.
She looks dead, and faint pulse. And she wasn't in and out of consciousness, Danny. She was able to make a noise. That's it. So we knew that she wasn't dead.
Yeah.
We put her on her side. The guy was worried that she was going to die. What is that noise?
I don't know. My car is absolutely falling apart. This thing needs to be replaced.
I think I got it.
It's all right. I don't think there's anything we're gonna be able to do about
Yeah,
it.
it's all right. Anyway, so Nico basically made sure this woman was okay. Mentioned that I should do CPR at some point. I was going to start doing chest compressions, if she wasn't breathing or didn't have a pulse, but she did, and the ambulance came, to their credit, in about a minute and a half.
Yep.
And they were in the building by 2 minutes, and
I will say, because everybody's done something heroic besides me, I was a professional on the phone with the fire department.
extremely.
I was able to fucking direct them to where we were and summon them in effectively.
He uses his white voice. It's very concise.
I'm good on the phone.
Yeah,
I'm good at conveying info on the phone.
He can tell you exactly where a vehicle is sidelined. He can tell you where an African American man is committing a crime, or any race. I don't know why I started with saying that it was an African American.
Yeah, you didn't need to specify, Leo. That was
I'm so
not
sorry
great.
about that.
That was not great.
I'm sorry about that.
I can get on the phone with a woman who's selling a car in the penny saver.
Yeah.
And I can make her think I'm very interested in the purchase and get her to meet me in a parking lot later than she would usually.
Yes.
Say 10 p.m.
Right.
But she trusts me because of how professional I sound on the phone.
Right.
And then what I do in that dark parking lot
Right.
at 10 p.m. when I meet her, I'm not going to specify.
Correct.
You get the idea, though.
Right.
It affords me interesting opportunities.
It sure does. And, the best thing is that a lot of those women late at night don't ever really get found. So when if they're not found, they can't really say anything about the experience.
And if that they don't say anything about it, it means it could have been positive.
Yes. What else? This trip was. I love San Francisco for its beauty.
But the fire department came in though,
Yes.
and they gave this lady Narcan, and she was immediately on her feet, walking out, getting into the ambulance. The firefighters looked as if they were fucking making a cappuccino. We're not even rattled in the least by this. They said 16 people overdosed and have to get revived like every day in the Tenderloin. And they let me ring the bell on the front of the fucking fire truck after.
Yep.
And they acknowledged that, yeah, Danny, Leo, and Nico are heroes.
Yeah, the best thing, and they also gave Nico a popsicle. Don't know why.
They gave him a popsicle. They gave him a sticker that said "Best Firefighter Ever."
Right.
And Nico, why are you still wearing that?
Yeah, it's strange.
Why are you wearing that, dude?
You've been wearing the sticker ever since they handed it to you. And you kept talking about the guy with the mustache like he was like some sort of hero to you.
Yeah, and he brought you up into the cab and let you sit on his lap, and he let you pull the horn for the.
Right. And I mean, we all didn't want to talk about how strange it was that you even had this little voice that sounded like you were making yourself kind of sound like a child when you were the voice, right? Why did you have that
You're
voice?
like, oh, what does the big round thing do? And he's like,
Right.
that's the steering wheel, little boy. Nico, you know what a steering wheel is.
Yeah, you said, what was it that you said? You said, my dream is to be the guy that drives the back of the fire truck. You know, he has the big wheel and he kind of helps it turn. I want to be that guy.
Yeah, Nico, you really lost it in the presence of the mustached man.
Yeah.
Can you explain yourself?
Yeah, what is it about firemen that excite you so much?
I can't even tell myself. I don't know.